I'm great. Thank you for the late teacher. The issue
Oh,
here
don't
is that
worry.
my mom is using my laptop and I want to use another computer here, but the computer is not working, so I prefer to use the cell phone.
Oh, you're in the cell phone now?
Yeah, now I'm in the cell phone.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. We we can sometimes we need to make adaptations to the situation, circumstances. That's
Yeah,
normal.
exactly.
That's actually uh, 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 an ability of people. But well, you're okay, right?
Yeah, yeah, all good, teacher. Yeah, now
Okay.
my mom is preparing to work in an insurance company, so she's receiving a lot of sessions,
Training. Yeah.
training. Yeah,
Well,
that's
believe it or
why.
not, but insurance companies they have a purpose, and that's a very good purpose, and they need to know. I mean, not the people who sell the primes or the policies, but they have a lot of statistics. How often can a mishap take place? For example, a fire or a car accident or a life casualties. They
Yeah.
exist. We don't like them, but they exist, right?
Yeah, of course. I think that it is important to be prepared for any type of situation. So, yeah, that's why the insurance exists.
Yeah, that is very true. Actually, there is one policy that people in Mexico normally don't buy, which is the policy of professional services. If you are a medical doctor,
Mm-hmm.
you say, "Well, I just do my profession, I just do my surgeries, I just do my activities, but I don't care if I have or not a policy for professional services." But then there have been situations in which the doctors, because it's their responsibility or not, they inflict a severe damage to the patient
Mm, yeah.
because they can have an excess anesthetic in the equipment, or because they may not have known a chirurgical procedure or a surgical procedure for lots of reasons. So it becomes very technical. Believe it or not, becomes extremely technical.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is so interesting. And I think that here in Mexico, now people have a culture to buy insurances because probably they don't think in the future, or I don't know what is the purpose, but I think that in Mexico, uh, it is not too popular to have like how to say life insurance, or how do you say that type of.
Yeah, well, you have life insurance, you have car insurance, you have fire insurance, you have professional services insurance, you have a policy for every possible situation.
Yeah, and I think that obviously the most common here in Mexico is the the car insurance, but I think that we must think in other in other situations too.
Yeah, that is very true. I sold insurance when I was a student too, many years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really interesting, and it was a lot of training as well. A lot of training, potential situations, and I had a friend. I have him. He's a friend to this day.
Mm-hmm.
He had a woodwork carpentry. It was a carpentry actually,
Okay.
and I told him that I wanted to offer him fire insurance, and he says, "Yeah, we're gonna buy one. Let me think about it." And he kept thinking for it for weeks, and one day their business suffered a fire, and they lost
Jeez.
they had a severe damage, and then. He was a good guy. He was a very honest guy. And he didn't dare to ask me, "Hey, send me the policy after the fact," because of course it's not possible. But he didn't do that. He just said, "Geez, I should have bought it before," but they never bought the policy. They procrastinated. Yeah, it was after the fact, right?
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I have seen that type of cases that, for example, people who don't have car insurance and they have an accident. Well, what can you do now? And I have seen people who tries to purchase a car insurance after the accident, and obviously the insurance companies know knows
The
about everything.
trick.
So yeah, exactly. But but well, yeah. Now my mom is gonna be offering insurances if you wish one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're very very important to consider, and it's very good to know a person that you can trust, because you know that they tell you the exact pros and cons and what is covered, because also an important aspect of that is the coverage, what
Yeah,
is
of
covered
course.
or what is not covered.
Hmm.
It's truly an interesting topic, really really interesting, but also becomes very highly technical for the listeners.
Yeah, it was something that
So
I
you
didn't know
should.
until I see my mom studying every day and she's reading and listening to videos, listening to conferences, and it was like, oh my god, I don't think I didn't know that a person who sells insurances needs to know all those concepts, all those, as you mentioned, technical concepts. But I have seen people who doesn't have like the certification. I think that that's a big difference between one with the other.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. For example, one of the things that you need to know is the regulatory compliance. Regulatory compliance. For example, in what situations it is required to have insurance, and one of them is the cars. Right? In the U.S., you cannot have a car if you don't have insurance.
Oh, really? I didn't know it.
No, you can't. When I was there, we often wanted to go to different places,
Hmm.
and they said, "Yeah, but you need a car." Well, we'll just rent the car. Yeah, but you need to buy the insurance. Well, I'm just gonna go to next town for half a day. No, you need to buy the insurance. Or, for example, when I moved back from the U.S. to Mexico,
Hmm.
I rented a car to move my things, and then to go from where was that? Medford to San Francisco, to take the plane from San Francisco to Mexico, right?
Hmm.
So I needed to drive, but I needed to rent the car and buy insurance for 1, 2, 3, 5 days, whatever I wanted. And they ask you that you needed to buy the insurance. That's a mandatory situation.
Wow. Yeah, of course. It is important. And as I mentioned, I think that in Mexico we don't have like this culture of having insurances. For example, now that I have read a little bit of the insurances that my mom is, well, that the type of insurance that my mom's gonna sell, because obviously now with the certification she can sell any kind of insurances. She's preparing for her exam. I think that her exam is gonna be in April. And well, I have seen a little bit of what she's studying, and probably I'm thinking in purchase one. I think that costs 30,000 pesos per year,
Right.
but it's like how say it? Like save or for the future. How do you say it?
Saving for the future.
Yeah, it's saving for the future, and obviously now in the activities that I'm doing, I don't have like how can I say it? Mm, well, I'm not protected in that part because it's not like a company is gonna pay for when I for the future, you know. So I've been thinking probably I'm gonna purchase that and 30,000 pesos per year. It's a good amount of money, but I think that I can manage it, right?
You can afford it. Well,
Yeah, I
that
can
means,
afford it.
yeah. Another important aspect. Well, I wanted to go a little bit into a concept of trade. Let's just do one more question about this interesting topic, which is the
Hmm.
risk assessment. You evaluate the risk of a happening. Um, for example, the coverage. I'm sorry, the prime of an insurance is higher for a person that smokes than for a person that doesn't smoke, right? In a life insurance coverage,
Hmm.
the prime of life insurance of a life insurance policy,
Hmm.
life insurance policy is significantly higher in a person that smokes than in a person that doesn't smoke. Why do you think? Why do you think the reason is?
Well, obviously, because probably the person who smokes is gonna use the insurance first.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds brutal, but it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Well, his relatives are gonna use it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there is another policy which is more expensive. I think check it with your mom, but I think policies for men, I think, tend to be a little bit higher or more expensive than a policy for a woman. Why do you think this is like that?
uh, Probably because the activities that normally men do, for example, in the industries and uh, in that type of jobs, well, require physical effort, and in occasions, probably, obviously, the risk are bigger than in comparison with a woman. Probably the jobs of a woman that doesn't require a physical effort than the jobs for a man. I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But also, this is connected with life expectancy, Mickey. How is the life expectancy of men compared to the life expectancy of women
I
in
think that the
general?
life expectancy for women is higher than life expectancy for men, right?
That's absolutely right. Exactly.
Hmm.
So if men are going to die sooner, their prime is going to be a bit higher, which is just simple math, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember when I was looking for the insurance for my car, like 1 year ago. Obviously, they ask you for the model, for the version, for the age of the people who's gonna drive the car, and it was funny because until the color of the car, because they know that, for example, there is some colors that are more how to say, like rovers in certain zones, or
Yeah.
that people looking for, and the price increase just because I told my age, the version of the car, because it's the sport version, and the color. I think that the same car, obviously, but the first version, I think that the difference between one with the other were around 3,500 to 4,000. What's the difference between one with the other? The same insurance.
Okay.
So it was curious because um, I didn't know how it works, the insurances, and now that I know that my mom is studying that and thinking about that case. Well, they analyze everything.
Yeah. 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 That is incredibly important. Well, before we move to the topic, you know what health insurance is, right?
Yeah.
What is that? How does it work, more or less? Do you know?
Well, I think that the health insurance is when it ensures that when you requires, or when you are diagnosed, how to say, diagnosticated, or
Diagnosed, yes, diagnosed.
diagnosed for a specific disease. Well, you can use that insurance to cover certain treatments that probably you're gonna require for your disease. So, in a way, you are like insurance your health. I'm not sure if that is, but more or less that's the idea, right?
Yeah, that is exactly right. That is really, really important for as people begin to age. Like in my case, maybe the case of your dad, we're approaching our 60s in a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are healthy, naturally healthy, and that is
Mm-hmm.
good. But some people may start suffering from the kidneys, from the heart, from the arteries, from this or from that. So having health insurance to cover hospitalization costs,
Mm-hmm.
like in case of a disease, of course. And there are lots of things which are really good, and we don't consider them when we're young because we think that we're going to be young all our life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that is not the
Mm-hmm.
case. Yes, Mickey.
Yeah, it's like the example that I told you, teacher, that I want to purchase uh, one, how is it, saving insurance, saving,
Yes.
because well, as we mentioned here, we don't know what's gonna pass in the future, and I know that one day I'll be older, and I think that I need to think about it since now, because well, the life in occasions change so fast, and in a way I need to be insurance with something.
We need to be insured with something. Yeah, that's true. Uh, did I tell you that I told you about the accident that two friends of my brother and his wife had, right? Recently in the US. The
Yeah, yeah.
famous T-bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just asked them about the progress of their the family, and she told me, my brother's wife said to me that they put them in different hospitals, the husband and the wife, for the different pathologies that they had. But
Okay.
in the place of the accident that took place
Mm-hmm.
here, this I didn't know. This is new information, and so for you, because it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
One person was taken to one hospital, the man was taken to one hospital, and the woman was taken to another hospital. So she was taken to here. But she was moved in a helicopter. The woman was moved in a helicopter to hospital B. Hospital B. The distance was 3 kilometers. Do you know what was the cost to move that woman from the accident place to the hospital B in by helicopter? What was the cost of that? The cost to move. Do you know what the cost was to move this person? Ah, okay, I don't worry, Mickey. You're back. Can you hear me? Oh, maybe I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, don't worry. Uh, can you hear me? No. Mickey got disconnected. Let's see if I can. I'm back. I don't know if you're back, Mickey, or ah, perfect. Uh, you're back. I cannot hear you, Mickey. Let's see the audio. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you. Something with the sound. Yeah, of course. Take your time. Don't worry. Let's see. Okay, let's wait for Mickey to come back. I think it's gonna take him a couple of minutes. You back, Mickey? I still cannot hear you. I don't know why. I can see you, but I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Now I can hear you.
now it
Now
works?
I, now it works.
Okay,
Now it
teacher.
works.
Sorry. Yeah,
No, don't
the,
worry.
the issue was that my dad called me because I think that his Facebook account was hacked, and then and then I got disconnected here, and yeah, and actually I didn't wanted to answer him because obviously I'm now in the class, but he called me again, and then I answered, and I
Right.
got disconnected too. Yeah,
Oh no,
but
don't worry. That might be an important call. So is he okay?
yeah, is he okay? Actually, the last week, my mom was hacked. Her WhatsApp was hacked, but was her fault to be honest. She received a call and she thought that was part of a Catholic group, and and I remember that I was listening, but I haven't taken attention to the call. And they told her that if she wanna continue in the group of WhatsApp because they're gonna create a new WhatsApp group, and then that she's gonna receive a code, a 6 number code, that if that code she can tells to them. And well, at that moment she was hacked because you have seen, right, when you change of device that you require a code to start well, to log in again in the new device.
Uh-huh.
Well, that happened. They sent you the
Ah,
the code, and my mom tells them the code, and she was hacked. And
ah,
and they were asking for money. My mom was so angry with herself because at that moment I came to her, and I told her, "What are you doing? What are you saying?" And at that moment she how do you say? Uh,
realized.
yeah, she realized what happened, and at the moment that she enters back to her WhatsApp, she couldn't access. But after 12 hours, I think that they require a new code. So at that moment that she receives the code, she puts her code again, and now she has her WhatsApp. But yeah, and they were looking for money, like,
Gee.
"Hey, my friend, I need money now because I have an accident. So can you send me that money?" And but now, thoroughly, I think that it's a common scam, so people now is more aware about it.
Right.
And so yeah, nothing happens. But well, sorry, teacher,
Gee.
for the
No, no,
interruption.
no. That's okay. That's okay. Well, actually, well, that's an incredible situation. It's amazing how people uh, try all kinds of tricks to scam people, to delude them, and it's now so easy to delude a person, to cheat them, to move them into a scam, as you said. Wow, it's incredible how this can happen, right? People have no
Yeah,
moral, but
I,
well, she's okay right now, and your dad is okay.
yeah, everything is okay, teacher. Thank you.
Very good. Well, I was telling you about this situation with the accident. This
Mm-hmm.
person, the lady, was taken to Hospital B
Mm-hmm.
because she needed another kind of treatment. You know how much it cost to move her from the accident place, which is from the site, accident
Yeah.
site,
Mm-hmm.
to the Hospital B by helicopter? 3 kilometers.
I don't know, but I imagine that was a good amount of money.
Yeah, $45,000.
$45,000.
$45,000 to move her from the accident place to the hospital, 3 kilometers by helicopter.
And why is that? Why is so? Well, I know that the uh, medical services in the United States are so expensive, but $45,000,
Yeah, $45,000. This is what, 900,000 pesos, almost 1 million pesos
almost 1 million pesos for 3 kilometers.
for three
Wow,
kilometers. Yeah, by helicopter. It was an emergency. Yeah, she needed to do this. I don't know what kinds of coverage they had, but all this was paid by the insurance company because they had access to the insurance company.
thanks God.
But imagine
Wow,
if they had had no insurance company. that cover for that? Well, the guy that caused the accident would have had to pay for that, but that would have taken a long time.
Yeah. So, wow.
So yeah, if you have the coverage, you are protected. And it also depends on the place, right? In Mexico, I'm sure that it would have cost that much to transfer a person by
Hmm.
helicopter, but $45,000, jeez.
Wow.
Well,
That's an abuse.
it is, but what can you do? That's the thing, right? When the events happen, how can you fix it? I mean, how can you come out of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Well, okay, let me go into the topic that I wanted to chat about, and that is the topic of trading, uh, hypothetical situations in trading, in trade. Let me share. I don't know if I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Am I? Yes, right?
Hmm.
Okay, well, here, this is a hypothetical question, Mickey, about trade. What do you think? Can you read this question, please?
Yeah. What could be the potential consequences if a major economic power decided to completely isolate itself from international trade?
Yeah, it could be China, it could be the US, it could be Germany who decide to isolate themselves. They say, okay, I isolate myself, play without me, right? China, Germany, Japan, etc., right? What do you think that would happen? What would be the consequences of that?
Well, obviously, I think that would affect to the rest of the countries who has a trade. For example, let's think in China. I think that the majority of things or devices that we have are made in China. So, uh, well, obviously, would affect us. The technology, everything. I think so. I'm
Yeah,
thinking in China. Well, we know that is the biggest, how say, manufacturer
manufacturer. Yeah,
of the world. So imagine that.
yeah. What could be another consequence? Well, how would it affect countries like the rest of the world? Let's say that we had no China anymore. That they said, well, I'm going to retreat. I'm going to take a little break, and I'm not going to be a player of the world for a couple of years. What would the effect or the consequence of that?
Mm, well, of course, I think that will affect the economy of the other countries. For example, if there's a country who exports to China and now China is not trading, well, all the goods that exports to China and all the people who make those goods uh, will be affected too.
Yes, what will happen with industries like the medical industry?
Hmm.
Let's say that they export lots of medical equipment to different countries. They have an ongoing supply of medical equipment, and then one day they tell you, Mickey, starting next year, 2025, we are going to no longer export medical equipment to Mexico or medical pharmaceuticals or anything, medical supplies, medical appliances. What now you have to buy them in Japan or you have to buy them in England, and
Mm.
they are going to cost three, four, five, six times more.
So, yeah,
What could happen then?
yeah, of course, probably the benefit that you get uh, from those medical, how's it, appliances,
Appliances? Yeah.
yeah, will decrease in a huge way because obviously the profit that you're gonna get if you buy from China or if you buy from England, well, it's a big difference.
Yeah, so that would have a big consequence, right?
Yeah, and probably the services who provide those medical appliances, the cost will increase too. So will be difficult to the people from to get those services.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Let's say that you are manufacturing shoes or manufacturing equipment, manufacturing anything,
Hmm.
and then the imported goods suffer an increase of tariffs that you are importing or exporting goods, and all of a sudden they suffer a tremendous increase in tariffs. How would this affect the global economy? What do
If
you think that would happen?
the tariffs if the tariffs increase,
Yeah, on imported goods.
yeah, of course, it's affecting everything because studying that obviously the cost that gonna requires to.
How would that be? Let's see the. Let's make an example then. You are importing leather. Let's say, well, we produce leather. No, or let's do the opposite case. Let's say that you are exporting leather to the US for them to manufacture the car seats. The seats of the cars are manufactured with the luxury seats are manufactured with special leather from Mexico. And one day they decide to increase the tariffs because they say that they are going to protect the animals, right? We're going to protect now cows. And
Hmm.
so we're going to increase the tariffs on your leather that you export from Mexico to the US. How would that affect everything?
Mm, well, obviously, I think that affects everything because the price that you're gonna pay is gonna increase, and obviously, probably the demand will increase too because if it is more exclusive, well, it will be more difficult to have this product in comparison that if they don't protect the cows in this case. But yeah, could affect in everything in the economy of the country who's selling and the economy of of the country who's buying it.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is interesting. Now you know that some countries have closed borders, and some others have open borders for international trade.
Hmm.
Let's say that one day, let's say Cuba, one day decides to open the borders completely,
Hmm.
right? So let's have a look at this question. Can you please read it, Mickey?
Yeah. If a developing country decided to open its borders completely to international trade, what challenges and opportunities might it face?
Yeah, what could happen in that case? Let's say Cuba, for example.
Well, in Cuba, probably there will be, of course, some challenges. Probably that they need to have um, the infrastructure to be exporting their goods. Probably, I don't know really how it's working now in Cuba, but probably they must have the infrastructure, not only in the exporting, but the companies must have the infrastructure to produce, to increase the amount of goods that they are producing. So probably there will be a challenge at the beginning that they are not completely developed to that.
In terms of infrastructure, all right, I should agree there. If they want to, for example, maybe they don't have the capacity to build houses or to build parts of cars, medical equipment could maybe not because Canadians were exporting medical equipment to Cuba.
Hmm.
But what about services? They are very capable people, very well prepared in many aspects. They are very well prepared in education, in medical assistance,
Hmm.
etc. So, what do you think is going to happen with some of the services that they provide?
Mm, well, I think that, um, of course, we know that Cuba is known for have good good doctors, good education in general. But probably we're talking about exporting the talent in this case, so exporting the
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Exporting talent and importing goods. For example, there is a prohibition that we sell, and all the Latin countries sell anything to Cuba, right? When I went to Cuba
Yeah.
in 2019, they
Mm-hmm.
were very happy because they had received lots of chicken from Brazil.
Chicken. Well.
Chicken, yeah. The countries could not, if you sold chicken to Cuba,
Mm-hmm.
your dad or your mom or your the authority would tell you, okay, Mickey, you go to the cinema no more with us. But why? Because you sold chicken to Cuba. But they are my brothers. Yeah, but I told you not to sell chicken, so no cinema. So
Well.
in this case, the US or the United Nations impose sanctions to countries that sell them gasoline or medicine or food or anything, right? But the Brazilian banks sold them chicken, lots of millions of chickens to the Cubans. So they were very happy because now they incorporated chicken to their diet. Now they were able to eat chicken.
Mm,
And so the Brazilian banks suffer a tremendous fine and penalty from the financial community, right? So they say, well, we're going to suffer sanctions. But let's say that political situations lift that embargo, and now you can sell them chicken, food, uh, medicines, equipment openly, not under the water like we do during the decades, right?
mm-hmm.
But now you can sell to Cuba lots of things, and then they say, well, we have not a lot of money, but we send you coffee, we send you crops of this or that, etc. How would that affect the world environment, Mickey, in your opinion, more or less?
Well, in the positive way, I think that um, will be a a good intercultural exchange. Obviously, we can know more things about Cuba, and they can know more things about the rest of the world. So that could be a, a positive change. Uh, but probably mm at the beginning will be a little bit difficult to do that. Obviously, it will be great that the countries who requires talent, well, they can export their talent to to other countries and receive goods of other countries too. Um, but yeah, I know that there are certain rules and different aspects that, in a way, they how to say forbidden that or they prohibited. How to say?
They were forbidden or they were prohibited to do something.
Yeah, but of course, I think that will be uh, obviously a trade. It's you can get good things from it.
Yeah, that is very true. How does the evaluation or devaluation of the currency work? For example, let's see this question, Mickey. Can you please read it and we can discuss it?
Yeah. How could a series of countries engaging in competitive devaluation of their currencies impact global trade dynamics?
Yeah, how would this affect the dynamics of, for example, you have a box of broccoli
Mm-hmm.
that you sell to the Americans, to the people in Laredo, and then
Mm-hmm.
from Laredo, Texas, they send this to New York or to Chicago to the market of New York, right? In this broccoli box,
Mm-hmm.
the broccoli box normally costs, let's say $10,
Mm-hmm.
$10, the box of broccoli, and one truck has how much is 48 times 24? 48 per pallet, 48 boxes per pallet, and there are 24 pallets. So how much is the invoice of a truck with broccoli, a broccoli truck?
Mm,
How much is that? $10 per box,
yeah.
um, 48 boxes per pallet, 24 pallets per truck. So what is the invoice? Let's see. You have a calculator.
Um, well, if the cost of the box is $10, and there are 48 boxes, is for 400 and
An 80 per box,
80 per box,
right?
and then that per 24,
Times 24, please, because it's 24 pallets in a truck. So it is
uh, 11,520
$1,520 per truck. That's
per
what
truck.
you sell for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So USD. That's the invoice.
Yeah.
And let's say that you make a typically a 20% profit. 20% profit also can be more. Um, if the currency is, let's say, 20 Mexican pesos per dollar,
Mm-hmm.
what happens if there is the opposite, that the Mexican peso goes is appreciated and the dollar goes down? Let's see these two situations. Let's see situation A and let's see situation B. How much money are you going to receive in terms of pesos in case A and in case B?
Well, in the case A, you're gonna receive uh 230,400 pesos,
400 pesos, right? And in the case of B, for one truck, how much
and
money are you
in
going
the
to receive?
case B, you're gonna receive uh 172,800.
Right, which is a significant difference. These are Mexican pesos, right?
Yeah.
So, what conclusion can we obtain just by saying that we are exporting broccoli to the US? Um, what can you say about devaluation?
Yeah, of course. That in the case if the dollar cost uh, 20 Mexican pesos, obviously we're gonna get a bigger profit because obviously we receive our money in pesos. But in the case if there's a devaluation uh, with the peso in front of the dollar, obviously the money that we are acquiring is gonna decrease too.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you are an exporter, it is better for you to have a devaluation of the currency. But if you are an importer, it's the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that happens to me. I remember the dollar was costing more or less 16.8, 16.5, more or less, right? Like 1 month and a half ago.
Okay.
And obviously the goods that I sell in Amazon mainly are from the United States. So for me was better that the dollar uh, stays in that range. But I remember that one day the dollar increased like 50 cents and was costing more or less 70.20. And, and I realized of that after the purchase that I made because the price increased and then I checked the dollar and obviously the dollar um, was acquiring more value in that moment. So yeah, as an import it's a disadvantage, but as an export it's an advantage.
How did that affect you, Mickey? The fact that it went up from 16.8 to 17.20. You were purchasing items in the US?
Yeah, yeah. For example, uh, the market in Amazon is more or less established, so you cannot increase the price from one day to other.
Okay.
So obviously, the profit that I get from those products, obviously, are 50 cents more or less, but per item, you know. So if there is, well, no, sorry. The price increased 50 cents, so obviously the cost that requires to me increased too, but the benefit that I get is the same. So obviously the money, the profit, decreased for me. But
Oh,
well, it's part it's part of that.
it's part of the game.
It's part of the game. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's say that now you import copper, import copper or steel from Japan, steel for the power industry. Let's say that you manufacture power transformers, or that you manufacture turbines, or you manufacture generators, which are electrical
Hmm.
equipments, and you need steel, but grain-oriented steel, right? This is a specific grain-oriented steel, which is magnetic steel that has some properties and needs to be treated so that it has the grain of the steel needs to be oriented so that it becomes more polarized, electrically speaking.
Hmm.
And this is obviously much more expensive than the normal one, right? And then you have an equipment, let's say a transformer, that is. This is very, very, very important in terms of economy, of the financial aspects, right? Let's say that the transformer costs $1 million.
Hmm.
$1 million,
Yeah.
and that it has 20% of the component, 20% is steel. That normally, let's say that the steel, I don't know the cost now, but it costs you normally, let's say, I forgot the cost. Let's say $5 the kilogram, which I think is more, but let's say 5 USD per kilogram, and that you need 25 tons of steel,
Hmm.
right? And then you normally make a profit of 10% profit in the equipment, in a $1 million equipment. What is going to happen uh, if there is a devaluation? What is the effect, or how does it affect your profit when the let's go from the same case. If the dollar goes from 20, let's say the opposite case, the dollar goes from 20 pesos per USD per dollar, how does it affect your profit if it goes suddenly to, is it better or worse for you if it goes up? You are importing.
If I'm importing, is worst.
If it goes up, right? Okay, let's do the example then. When it goes to 25. Okay, that case, Mickey. How much does it affect your profit if it goes from 20 to 25 pesos? What
Mm,
is the effect in your profit? How would
well,
you?
of course, the percentages that you get from profit is gonna decrease because now the cost increase. So uh, as an how say importator, or how do you say,
Importer.
as an importer, obviously the cost, it costs more, so the profit that you're gonna acquire uh, is less than in comparison if if the dollar costs $20, 20 pesos, sorry.
Okay, but how does it affect? How much? If they tell you, okay, make an analysis of the impact, how would you do it in terms of profitability? My profit is going to go down to what? Let's make the calculation.
Yeah.
20% is still, so 1 million US dollars make a profit of 10%. So you once your profit is $100,000, right? Is your profit
Mm-hmm.
at how much? What with the steel at um, 20 pesos, 20 pesos per dollar, right?
Yeah.
So if the price of steel goes to 25, and you have 25 tons of steel, right? How much money do you lose with the increase? Well, 25 tons is how many kilograms, Mickey? 25,000
25,000 are 25,000 kilograms.
kilograms. And what is the price difference in the dollar currency? I mean, the currency difference. The difference.
$5.
Five exactly is five. So 5 times 25,000.
5 times 25,000. 100,000. 125,000.
$1,000, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? If you're making a profit of 100,000 and there is a difference of $5 of, I'm sorry, five, but is this correct?
Mm,
No, no, it's 125,000 pesos difference, right?
yeah.
Mexican pesos is the difference. How much is this in dollars? Because that's going to affect your profit here. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of having $100,000 profit, how many dollars is this? 125,000 pesos is how many dollars? At the new price,
25.
25 pesos, right?
Yeah.
So how many
Mm,
dollars is that?
$5,000.
$5,000. Well, it's still not bad, right? Instead of making $100,000 profit, you make $95,000 profit in the power
Mm-hmm.
transformer that costs 1 million. Well, in this case, it did not affect us so much, right? Instead of making $100,000 profit, you make 95. It does not affect you a lot, really.
It's a good money.
Yeah, yeah. But in other cases where the margin is much less, it can affect you to the point that you say, well, it's not a business for me now. I don't make a
Mm-hmm.
profit anymore.
Yeah.
What trades, what type of products have a very low margin, Mickey, that you know,
Mm,
or that are very sensible to the price difference
here in Mexico?
in the market, in the world, are very sensible to price fluctuations?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, but to be honest, I don't know. I need to think about it.
Maybe oil and gasoline, they say precious metals and agricultural commodities, wheat,
Mm,
corn, and soybeans, because you sell them by the millions,
yeah.
right? So let's say agricultural commodities, agricultural commodities. Um, have you thought of the people in Central de Abastos, Miki? You've been to the Central de Abastos, right? Of course,
Yeah.
to the city market. Yes. What do you think of the operations that they carry out over there? How are they? For example, a person that buys a truck of mangoes or a truck of lettuce or etc. What do you think of that?
Well, that is a good business. but
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, it is so interesting. I have friends that their parents work in Central de Bastos, and I have seen all the processes that it requires to to get the fruits and vegetables, and then transport, and then again transport, and then finally, how you say, finally
sell it.
eh, sell it in the Central de Abastos, and then people who buy in occasions,
Excuse me.
bless you, in
Thanks.
occasions, the fruits and vegetables from the Central de Abastos, they resell it in other stores. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a complete process.
it's a complete and complex and interesting process, uh, but it's very sensible to price fluctuations.
Yeah, yeah,
They
that is true.
materially, when I was working for this grower that grew cilantro, produced cilantro, spinach, parsley, and Swiss chard.
Hmm.
I was in the negotiation with the Soriana buyer,
Wow,
and materially we had arguments for 10 cents, Mickey, 10 cents. I
ten
told them
cents.
10 cents. No, don't think that it was 5 pesos, six, no, 10 cents in the cilantro. So the argument was like this. I offer the cilantro at 125 per bunch, pesos. And he says, no, 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 you're crazy. I pay you 1 peso per bunch. 1 peso per bunch. And I said, no, 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 Fernando, come on, please buy it 125. Well, give me 120. A bunch is a manojo, right? I says,
Hmm.
how can
Yeah, yeah.
one 120? You gotta be crazy. I can give you 1 peso, 110. So it was a bargaining for 10 cents, Mickey. And then at the end, my friend and boss told me, well, when you're about to hang up and say, okay, thank you, this is the final price, all right? He says to me, okay, give me a favor, just help me with 10 cents. Okay, so I will not give you 1 peso, I will give you 110
110.
per bunch. He accepted, right? Final price on the cilantro bunch. And then I said to my boss, "Hey, Rene, what is the purpose? 10 cents is nothing." He says, okay, well, come, make the calculation, please. Yeah, what's the calculation? Well, a cilantro box contains 60 bunches.
60 bunches. Hmm.
60 bunches. 60 bunches. The pallet contained 55 boxes. One pallet contained 55 boxes. And the truck contained 24 pallets. So, how many bunches are there in a truck?
Mm, let me check.
Yeah, you will be surprised of the effect of 10 cents.
Yeah, of course. Six cylinder box, 60 punches, one pallet R per 55 per 24.
So it is 60
Seven,
times 50,
79,200.
79,000, 79,200
200
bunches in a
bunches.
box.
Yeah.
So he says to me, well, if you increase the price 10 cents per bunch, the invoice is going to increase 7,900 pesos more, right?
Yeah.
Times 79,200 is going to be 7,900 pesos more. He said to me, well, with that favor, I just paid your week. Of course, he paid me less, right, than that.
Hmm.
But if you tell Fernando, he says, hey, Fernando, help me with 10 cents, please. Increase the price 10 cents. Okay, when you're about to hang up, okay, 10 cents. With that, in those 2 seconds, I paid for your week, your salary of a week. So the effect of asking for 10 cents help or jack up the price
Hmm.
is going to make 10,900 pesos more for the company. And with that extra money, he can pay your salary of 1 week or 2 weeks, like it was my case. He gave me 5,000 per week at that time. So he says, with that action, you boost the the invoice amount
Wow.
because of this, right? You are selling 29 thousand bunches per truck to Soriana. So asking for 10 cents is going to give you an invoice of 7,900 pesos more additional.
Additional, yeah.
So, yeah, it was incredible. The effect of 10 cents, you say, well, how can that be so important? Well, it was this important, right? To the fact that he didn't have to worry for one salary of a person for only that small negotiation. What do you think of that,
For
Mickey?
only 10 cents. Yeah, of course. In occasions, we can think that 10 cents or 20 cents are nothing, but if we compare with the amount of, in this case, of cilantro bunches and the demand that in occasion those products has, well, it's a big difference. Yeah, it's so interesting, and it's like we were talking, right? The Central de Abastos, they buy it, they transport it, and then someone else buy it to resell it again. So in reality, we don't know what is the cost of the things. We know the cost of the resales, but yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they buy 7,000, almost let's say 80,000 bunches,
Hmm.
but they also they buy 80,000. They have their calculators also, right?
Yeah, of course.
80,000 bunches, but they waste like 35%, 35%. So they really take advantage. Well, let's say 30% to make the numbers easy. 30%, which they lose more, but that is wasted. So they, how many bunches they have effectively for sale?
Mm, 56,000.
56,000. Let's say they buy at 1 peso, right? At 1 peso. So they pay for 80,000 bunches at 1 peso, they pay 80,000 pesos, right?
Hmm.
But they sell only 56,000, 56,000 at 5 pesos. So how much money do they make? Well, they make a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because they buy at 1 peso and they sell at five.
Hmm.
So 250,000, 200,
280,000.
280,000. So they
200
make,
profit. 200,000
cheese.
profit.
Wow, yeah, it's incredible. The amount of money that convenience stores make because they purchase big quantities. They waste much more than this. Don't, it's not 30%. They lose close to 50% in the
Yeah.
cold in the cold chain, right?
Mhm.
Because gets rotten, gets wasted, gets bad product, and the shelf life is not so extended. But it's a complex but very interesting business, Mickey. Really, really
Yeah.
interesting, and with a lot of technical complexities, as you know, and financial complexities.
Yeah, it is so interesting. In occasions, well, we don't realize of that. In my case, we just go to the store and buy it, but we don't know all the process to get that product in that store, right?
Yeah, 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 that is true. Well, Mickey, okay, let's see. I have lost track of the pending classes that we have. You have the record more or less?
Yeah, more or less. I think that probably there's only one pending class. I think so. I
Okay,
need to
so
check it again. I need to, yeah, double check, but yeah, I
okay,
think that it's just one pending class. But
so maybe we
um,
have it tomorrow if you think it's okay.
yeah, teacher.
Yeah,
Tomorrow it's perfect. Yeah, at nine.
tomorrow's perfect. At 9? Yeah, what do you think?
Yes, teacher, perfect. To recover all the
Okay,
classes and then continue as we were working.
very good. Okay, Mickey. Well, have a wonderful day. Take care.
You too, teacher.
And
Thank you for your time.
see you tomorrow. Take care, Mickey.